Hi guys, and welcome back to Crafty Quilting Design. So today I have a really beautiful short project for you. It is a table runner, and these are scraps that from a quilt I am currently working on. I'm going to put a picture up there so you can see what I'm working on. So if you like what you see, don't forget to subscribe, hit that notification bell, and of course give me a thumbs up for this video and all the other videos to come. Okay, don't forget that. Right, okay, so I'm trying, guys, to reach to 10,000 really soon. I must admit, you guys have been fantastic. You have been supporting me from day one, and all the new subscribers, make sure you say hello. Come on, don't just subscribe and don't say hello. Say hello. I want to meet you. Okay, I want to know who is watching me. All right, let's get back to the project. So it's going to be a short one. So as I said, making a quilt, and these are the strips from the cuts, and so I stitched it all together, and I just got a vibe of a vision in my head of something I wanted to do. I was like, you know what, from this I am going to make something really short and sweet, and why not do it right now? So let's get started. Alright, using the strips that you have, I need you to cut them into the same size of your squares, which I will obviously tell you in the description box down below with that link, okay? So I've done some already, so I'm just going to do the rest. It doesn't really matter if it falls on the crease. When I say crease, I'm referring to the seam line. Sorry, my apologies for using the word crease, it's incorrect grammar. So I'm just gonna make sure that it fits in because the edges here are not straight, okay? So it's just jagged. So I'm just making sure I can get the size that I want. And let me just see if it fits there for a bottom piece. No, it doesn't. So I'm just gonna turn this around on the other side. I'm not really bothered as to how much I get in terms, obviously it's a table runner, so it's going to be very easy and quick. All right, so I'm just going to cut this into a strip. So I'll just do one as a demo, and then obviously you will get the idea from what I'm referring to. So I'm just using my square here to give me an idea of the size that I want. I'm going to use my smaller ruler for this one and just line that up. Now I could just simply measure it properly, the ruler, but I already have the size there, and I'm just going to equate this one down properly to the end there. Right, and that's simply it. That's all I want, you to have a variation of the strips of whatever you're using. So I've got a few here. Okay, so that's the first set of cuts, and these are your next set of cuts. We're also going to be needing some background fabric, so I'm going to get started on that, and I'll show you how to make the block. Alright, so the next thing you need is some of the background fabric, as I said. So I'm just going to cut these down, and we are going to be using, now as you can see, these are all scraps. Literally is scraps I'm using here. Before I cut this, let me just tell you before I forget what you actually need. So you're going to be needing some squares, and again I've used scraps for this. So I have some smaller squares here which I've actually cut down into some squares, again using scraps. All right, so all of my strips set have been cut, and I'm going to cut this now, and just going to do that there. Right, and again I need squares for this one. It's folded, so I'm going to cut two as we go. I'll use my smaller ruler. It'll be easier to pick up and drop down. So cut a couple of those as well. So I'm going to make one block to show you what the block looks like, and then I'm going to then lay out the whole thing and get it all done very quickly and get it quilted. This really is a very short project. As I said, I was making a quilt and I saw the rest and I was like, I just had a vibe. Let me get this done very quickly and show you guys. This is just how I think, you know, on my feet all the time. So we're going to snowball everything on the square. So I'm going to start with this one and just lay it all out so you can see where my thinking is going. You can keep to the actual let me just make sure these are the same sizes as, yeah, okay. You can keep to the same cuts. So for example, let's find 2 of these here. So if I wanted to use, let's go with this one since it's right in front of my face. If I wanted to use the same cuts from the strips, I can, or you can mix it up. It's entirely down to you, okay? I'm just showing you here ideas. 2 of the squares that I had, and I'm just going to alternate them as shown here, like so. So that is the beginning of making the block, all right? I don't want these 2 together, but I want them opposite each other. So I don't particularly want these 2 colors next to each other also. It doesn't really matter. You can do whatever you damn well please. Okay, don't make this fussy. That's one thing I love about scraps, is that you can just do whatever you damn well please. You don't have to worry about right or wrong. You know, if you want the strips going that way, you can. It's entirely down to you. You know, don't let anybody tell you right and wrong. For me, quilting is all about how you feel and what works for you. Okay, so for example, I have these 2 reds here. I don't really want that there, so I'm going to swap these around like so. All right, and then I have the issue of having the reds a little bit closer, so I can obviously turn it upside down as well. Do what you feel. Okay, so the next step now is to snowball. Now you can go with black or any other color, and we're going to snowball the middle. So you're going to need 1 for each of the squares. All right, so that's the idea there. So I'm going to put that front sides together and sew across there, okay, and then we're going to do that for all of them. The idea is that we're making a flower basically, all right, and we're going to snowball there. And this is what I mean by if you wanted to do different colors, you can. There is no right or wrong. You don't have to use one particular color. Again, the beauty of using scraps. All right, so we're going to sew that on there. So when you're sewing on, you're sewing from this end to that, and then I'll bring the camera in closer so you can have a look, or I can just pick it up. Either way, whatever is the easiest. All right, so that's what it would look like. So you're going to sew from this end to that end there. Do not sew from that end to that end. Pointless, yeah? So we're sewing here. You're going to do a mark, and then you're going to sew and then trim a 1/4 inch off. All right, so once you have done that, it's going to be fold back, and you're going to have this edge in here. Let's finger press that and get a pin and hold it down. Now let's see if I can get a pin very quickly. Very quickly, yes. Right, so that is what it's going to look like. All right, so like so. So that's the idea there. Okay, so I'm going to do that now to all of them. Okay, the white fabric now is going to do the same thing. So we're going to do one at a time. So think of it as building a house. All right, so we're going to do one there, and again the same thing. So from that end to that end there, and we're going to fold it over. You must do one at a time when you're using the background fabric. All right, because the other one is going to fold over it basically. All right, the other one is going to touch it, so you cannot do both of them at the same time. It must be one at a time, and so therefore that is what it's going to look like. So I'm just going to get another pin and pin that together. I probably should have brought the whole thing over, shouldn't I? Nevertheless, okay, so that is it. Okay, so we're going to snowball. Let's do the white first. Let's talk, the uniformity, make sure it's organized properly. So basically what you're looking for is to get like a little house. All right, so once you have your house shape, then you can go on to doing this one now on the corner. Let's get a little triangle going again, like so. All right, we only need, we need it on all 4. So the background fabric goes on all 4, and the smaller square goes on all 4 yet again. All right, so I'm going to do that very quickly and come back and show you what the block looks like. Alright guys, so I have my lines drawn here as you've seen, and I'm just chain piecing all of the squares, smaller squares onto the bigger square, and I'm just sewing just a hair, just when I say a hair, just a tiny bit behind the actual line, okay, just a mark of that stitching line all the way down there. So I'm just going not on the line but just slightly behind it. Okay, the reason why is that sometimes if you go on the line, when you do fold it over, it comes up a little tiny bit short, right? So it may come a little bit short, so not major but just tiny. But to avoid that, you just simply sew just right beyond that line there. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do now. Just slow it down so that you don't make any mistakes. I'm going to cut that off. So let me just take this apart and let's see if I actually got that right, because sometimes you do miss it, sometimes you get it right. You need 4, not 3, so I've got one more to do. And I've just unthreaded my machine. I'll just thread that back. One thing I love about this machine is it threads so quickly. Beautiful, just love it. Alright, so that's back to normal now. And let's see if I got this correct. And if I fold it over, yeah, that's pretty good. So that's what I'm aiming at. So I'm just going to trim this off here. What you could do if you want to save, I'm making noise with this, aren't I? If you want to save this piece, you could do another stitch line and then cut in between those stitch lines, but I'm not going to worry about that. I'm just going to cut it right there, just a 1/4 inch away. And fold that back. Okay, just finger press it just to make sure it's on nicely. And you're going to do the other side. So I'm going to take another one of my squares, and I'm going to put it the other way, so this way now, and it's literally going to go over that one. Okay, so it's going to lap over, so that's not wrong, that's actually correct. Excuse me, I've got a bit of a dry cough as per usual. Okay, so I'm just going to sew. I'm going to start from this end up here. I could start from that end, doesn't really matter to be honest, but do as you feel comfortable. I'm going to put that down and I'm going to sew. Lovely. Let's get it off so that you get an idea what I'm referring to, and cut that piece of thread. And again, cut a 1/4 inch. I didn't measure it this time to see if it folded over correctly, but I think it's fine. I've been doing this a little while now, so I think I've got the knack of that. Now this is scraps, or you can, I don't know, use it again. It's up to you. Right, so fold it over. So that's what we're aiming at. So just that little house there. So that's a bit of our block. So we need to do that 4 times. So you need to do that on 2 of the plain and 2 of this ones here. All right, so once you've done that, then we're going to do the same procedure with the smaller square. Now ideally, I do feel on reflection now, looking at this, I do feel that my square here, it's a little bit big, so I'm going to change the size of that, which is not a problem really, it's just to trim it down. So, and the reason why, because I don't want it to fold over and be touching the white. So I do feel that once I fold it over, it's going to touch, and I am correct, it is going to touch the white. So I'm going to make the square a little bit smaller because I want that space. I want that space there. All right, so I'm going to trim it down smaller, and then, but again, this, what I'm really showing you here is that the same method applies, i.e. you draw your line from point to point, lay it on an angle, and then sew it on. All right, so I'm going to complete that, and then I'll show you the whole block, and then from there we'll just lay it out. Okay, so not paying attention, watching Divorce Court, and I made a boo-boo. So let me show you what I've done. So it wasn't exactly what I'd planned. I sewed it together without thinking. So, and I did too. And so I'm not going to unpick it. This is supposed to be a quick, fun project. And if I get my unpicker off, or out in this case, it is not fun. It is going to be stressful. So I am not going to unpick it. This is what I did. it's supposed to have the middle bit there, and I didn't put it in. It looks nice, don't get me wrong, I love it. It's a nice little flower, a spinning flower. I can see the movement, but it is not what I intended, and I am not going to unpick it. So this is the block. This is the block, guys. Let me show you the other one. I mean, it looks nice, don't get me wrong. It's really pretty, I like it. But it's not what the intention was. Nevertheless, we're going to move on with this block. So hey guys, this is the block. What do you think? All right, let me show you the layout now. All right guys, so this is what it looks like. So I've made 4 of the blocks together. I think I have another 2 to go, but I'm going to stop at 4. Okay, now I wanted to point out is if you put all of these together, it makes a lovely repeat, doesn't it, for a actual quilt, or bed quilt or lap quilt. So again, it's scraps. It's very bright looking at it through the camera. So I'm going to separate it and add some of these sashings here in between, and then I'm going to use this fabric here as a border and complete the whole thing, and then I'll show you what it looks like. Alright guys, so this is completed now, and it only has taken the day to make it. Is Sunday here now, in case you're watching it another time, obviously. And so this is what it looks like. Okay, really beautiful. I'm going to put it on the table so you can have a clearer picture of it. And this is scraps. I cannot stress enough how important it is to use your scraps up. And just bear in mind guys that you don't have to wait till your scraps is a whole pile before you make something from it. Just use it as you go along, and that way, you know, you have so many free projects. And I call scrap projects free because at the end of the day, you didn't go out and buy the fabric, did you? You had it there. May have been in pieces, but you had it there. Okay, so if you enjoyed this tutorial, don't forget to like and subscribe, hit that notification bell, give me a thumbs up, definitely for this one, and I'll see you next week. I think that's it. That's all I've got to tell you. I would also make sure and link that quilt that I'm actually working on that contains these fabrics here. So that's where my scraps is from. So 2 projects from 1 fat quarter. I just love myself sometimes, you know. All right guys, bye. Stay tuned for the next clip so you can actually see what it looks like on my table. Bye for now, and as I said, happy quilting. Love you guys lots. See you in the next one. All right, so now that you have a better look at it, what do you think? I think it's really gorgeous. Let's go in closer and have a look at it properly. So you can see the flower. It looks like it's spinning, isn't it? I just think it looks really good. On the white, I just did meandering. And you know, sometimes you just got to choose the right quilting. And I think meandering lines was just perfect for this. On the borders, as you can see, I did some feathers and I use a purple binding. But overall, this table runner looks pretty good. The size measures 21.5 by 52.5. Beautiful, isn't it? I love the borders on the side. Can't get over that, actually. The borders, excellent, excellent choice. It just actually raises the whole color profile. Really, really fantastic, guys. So if you're interested in making this one, please download the pattern. Do let me know how you get on and tell me what you think about it. And yeah, I'd love to hear your feedback. As usual, guys, happy quilting. See you in the next one. Bye for now.